No. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Cafe, by the way, a morning gaming podcast. I'm your host, Andy, aka producer, by the way, or producer BTW on Twitter. I'm so glad to be back, as I always am every Saturday. Where today we're going to talk about a few things up front that I think are important to talk about with relevant to TikTok. And the only reason I want to talk about that is because I do have an affiliation with technology, and you know, today main topic is the history of video game graphics, and I did want to come up front and mention that, you know, when I talk about the history of something, it's my perspective. It's coming from my retrospective of that retro thing. So keep that in mind when we do my episodes, and that when I walk through perspectives, because it's a perspective of me doing research and also a perspective of me personally being a part of that video game generation where I could play games through the graphical climb, and I will give you that perspective. So that's one thing I love about this podcast, is because I happen to be that old where I started at the 2600. So I like to say that my perspective is very personal to me, but obviously relates to many. So that being said, thanks again for coming to another Cafe BTW podcast. I see Al is here. We have a couple of new people, Dim. Thanks, guys, for stopping by. Let's see here. I want to jump into this real quick. So I'm live on TikTok right now, and I created a TikTok before this whole China conspiracy thing that kind of popped up about how, like, they were stealing our security, or China had a back end into you know, our security through the app. So apparently overnight, you know, Trump had said that they are going to ban TikTok potentially unless there's like a deal made. And apparently Microsoft, get out of here. Microsoft is, believe it or not, interested in buying TikTok so that they can move the app into the American side of the world so that there's no antitrust issues. And I think that's really interesting, believe it or not. And I hope that Microsoft does buy TikTok, because here's what I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about the whole China conspiracy. That's not me, okay? I don't dive into conspiracy based on Reddit links or Twitter posts, whatever. What I do appreciate is the communities that are built on these apps, and how sad it is when an app shuts down and your community is shattered or you have to rebuild. I'm going to give you some examples, especially one of my favorites. I wish I had my videos from Vine, but I was on Vine and I loved Vine. I adored Vine. And it's a very similar app to TikTok, but not so much, because Vine was simple, right? Vine was 6-second videos, right? You did a Vine, it was 6 seconds, and it was a video. And you made like 6-second short films is how I like to call it. And I did want to pull up some Vines just to give people that might not have been on Vine a feel. But what's my point here is that I built a sort of like a good following on Vine, and I felt like I was growing it. And then Twitter comes in and says we're shutting it down because Twitter owned it at the time, and it really hurt. And I was like, screw. It was like, darn, like, what do I do now? And now I have to like focus on Twitter, you know, which Twitter hasn't been an easy climb to grow on. It's a very hard app to grow on. But I did want to show a couple of Vines here that really stood out to me. And well, not stood out to me. It's just like just random Vines. So let's watch a little bit of this.
It's nice. Let's go peek in the windows. Yeah. Oh, people so afraid. He's naked. Sorry. Sorry.
She's a thought. She is? Man, I know that she's a thoughtie. She ain't giving up her phone, but she giving up that body.
Why do you hate me? I never said that. Why would you think that?
Because we never hang out. See, you hate me.
Get the out of my face.
What do you want the most for Christmas?
All the world. Hugs. Hugs
Well, can we still go to the skate shop? No, not tonight, sweet.
This is it. 6-second short films.
Okay.
Hey, Dad, can we go get ice cream?
Sorry, buddy, we can't.
Okay, fine. I guess I'll just tell Mom that you're cheating on her.
Ice cream sounds great. Let's go.
Baby, happy Valentine's Day!
And it's like, it is kind of like dated, sort of, but it's interesting to see these old Vines, and it's just sad that this app died.
Yes, I will.
So, like, I'm an omnivore because I eat plants and meat.
Oh, what am I?
Stacy, you only eat dick, and I'm pretty sure that makes you a slut.
Hi, would you like a table? You guys didn't want a table, did you?
That's terrible.
Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna take carpet for 5, please, you fucking idiot.
I love you.
David Dobrik, who, and obviously it's dirty and kind of raunchy at the time, but I was doing gaming posts on Vine, and I was called This Gamer Says on Vine. And I miss it. What's up, Stash? What's up? But David Dobrik is like the biggest influencer right now in the world, and he was on Vine.
I'm never gonna stop loving you. Yeah, I'll see you later, Grandma. Mom, Dad, I'm horny.
Steven, please.
Told me I could tell you anything.
Nothing to see here, you know.
So what Vine was, it encompassed 6 seconds, right? And my point is that all these awesome people had to rebuild their, you know, and I'm not saying they didn't become successful, because a lot of Viners became very successful, believe it or not. And but it's like you got to break down to rebuild, and that's the sad part about like when an app gets shut down. Everyone's like, oh, TikTok's going to get shut down. Thank God, you know, thank God. But that's not really all of it. You know, don't forget all these people that worked really hard to get their followers. You know, they weren't thinking about like China. They were just dancing on an app, you know. So like now potentially, you know, Microsoft might buy it and save it, which would be great, but it could get shut down and banned. And what are they going to have to do? You're just going to have to pivot. You're just going to have to pivot. And I wanted to talk about this today because I'm on TikTok right now. I'm live on TikTok right now. Hey, what's up? Because maybe this is the last time. And I created my TikTok to supplement my podcast in a different way. I was like, I want to try something different. David Dobrik recently officially partnered with energy drink G Fuel. He's moving up in the world. Well, he actually gave away 3 Teslas on his YouTube channel, believe it or not. No, he gave 2 Teslas away on his Instagram and then 1 Tesla on TikTok. Ridiculous. Like that's how rich this guy is, you know? But anyway, I digress. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole. I just wanted to tell people that you got to be careful with like, you know, you might like love the fact that an app is closing down, but just don't forget about all the hardworking influencers and you know, people that built their communities there and how hard they have to work to adjust, you know, back to that. One more thing that I thought was really cool is that Deadpool, believe it or not, like our favorite guy Deadpool, he did a he posted a teaser for Deadpool 3 or something weird yesterday on Twitter. So I do want to show this. Like, I'm a huge Deadpool fan, but what does this mean? Like it's like unsolved mystery. And Ron Reynolds says it's why the next Deadpool film is taking so long. Still trying to solve this happy leak-aversary. So he posted this yesterday. I thought it was really cute, and of course I have a Deadpool here, which I got from an owner of a 7-Eleven gave me this Deadpool. It was really nice of him. So thank you. Person that gave me that. Good morning, Geek with that. Whoa, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in so long. I hope you're well. All right, let me shake off all that TikTok-y talk and all that Vine talk, and let's get into what I really want to talk about, which is the evolution. Thanks, Geek. Appreciate the biddies. 10 biddies from Geek. Man, thank you so much. So yeah, let's get into the meat of the show today, which is, the history of graphics, at least from a lot of the research I did. It's like, how do you investigate and research that? Like how do you talk about the history of graphics, right? And I'm sure there's plenty of YouTube videos. I will be referencing a YouTube video creator named Ahoy, Ahoy. So I will throw to him today because he had such a good take on the history of graphics. And I did reference him a lot in order to research this particular topic, which is how do graphics evolve, or how did they evolve over the course of my experience with the growth of video games? Because I'm going to give you that perspective, that experience that I had while I grew up, seeing the growth and like, how did video games like change? And we grew up in a time where really you could notice graphical jumps, and it was really incredible when you would watch the graphical jumps of a video game. Like, you were able to see the evolution of graphics, and that's one particular part of, I believe, video games that we have seen growth. And it continues to do that. Like the PS5 showed us some stunning technology with lighting on a console that makes it stunning. Where Xbox kind of showed us a few things that weren't so impressive, but I was still kind of impressed with Xbox. But, we're continually trying to improve graphical, aesthetics in video games. Every time there's a significant jump in graphics, it's almost jarring at first. Sure. I mean, and especially during the old days. I mean, look at these games like 1986. You got Legend of Zelda here. These are cool graphics, and at the time you're like, whoa, look at that. Look at the detail on these bad guys. Even though if you think about it, how detailed are they? But then you look at a Stardew Valley, and it's, similar fashion, just maybe updated. It's beautiful in its own right. These graphics are beautiful. Everything from the aesthetics of the items and how they're portrayed on the screen, the map, the life bar, which ended up becoming a classic part. And is that considered a part of the graphical interface? Yeah, because there's color. It's laid out, and it's beautiful in its own right. And it's subjected to think, like, then here's Street Fighter in 1987, and look how beautiful it is, just from aesthetically pleasing. It's art, in my opinion, with a beautiful sky, which kind of looks like the sun is going down, and a beautiful, part of some part of Asia, and just like, I mean, this isn't how Ryu usually looked, but it's definitely like really, really aesthetically pleasing and enjoying, right? Because it's graphics, and when I saw this in the arcade, I was like, whoa, look at this. So that's a good example. I just saw a Tapper. Let me see if I can go that one. Oh, this is such a good game. But I mean, look at this. Like, well, here's a graphical game, and a Mickey Mouse Castle of Illusion, beautiful, like, in its own right. It's beautiful in its own right. Yeah, the artwork on that is often overlooked, but quite good. Yeah, but let's get into the history, because, we all know the BioShocks of the world. We all know the Gears of Wars of the world, the games that stand out, the Red Dead Redemptions of the world, the No Man's Skies of the world, the games that really aesthetically are beautiful. But we all know that aesthetics aren't everything, but in this episode of Cafe BTW it is, because we are diving into just that section of video games and how it's grown over the course of time. So I've laid out a structure of games we're going to take a look back on. The design of Ryu is actually an alternative costume you can use in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. That's awesome. Really? I'll have to look that up. But let's start at the very beginning. So this is a game by Atari called Gotcha in 1973, and it's technically a graphical interface, and it's one of the early games that kind of showed true kind of graphical interfaces on a game. So we're just going to play this. As you can see, it's moving. It's not Pong or anything. It's like you got to get through a maze of changing pieces, and it's called Gotcha. And basically, we're starting at the very beginning. This is graphics, people. This is the start of an evolution of graphics and growth with video games, right? So that's Gotcha. We're going to move up the chain, and then we're going to move to a game called Indy 4. Now, the only reason on Indy 4 the cars are different colors is because they were trying to figure out how do we differentiate the people that are each player. And then they're like, well, we'll give the players different colors. And I think that's really what distinguished, changing colors as an aesthetic. Like, and as we know, there's many games that choose colors as different characters. So you might play I forget what it is, but you'd play a game and you'd be like purple, the other person be green, so that it was actually just like it wasn't so much an aesthetic, but a mechanic for you to understand what player you were. But so Indy 4 in 1976 in the arcade had color. Okay, so let's move up to another game that I selected, and one that is really interesting. It's called Car Polo. Looks a lot like Rocket League, in my opinion. But Car Polo was one of the early games to display color in 1977. And let's play a little of this. It's like Rocket League. Look at that. And there's the ref who looks really weird, putting the ball out. Looked like he had hockey sticks for legs. Excuse me. So graphics here, as you can see, color all over here. You got a green field, you got the goalposts, the red car, you got different colors for the players. Really interesting, right? Now, I would think that one of the biggest jumps from those type of graphical games was actually, believe it or not, Galaxion is very much considered a very, very high-end upgrading graphics, especially for the time that Galaxion came out. So let me show you some Galaxion. Beautiful, beautiful, stunning, easy background with space, with different color stars. The aliens are very simple in design. The flow of the game is great. The colors are great. It's a game that you can really, really visually as simplistic as it is. So Galaxion is definitely a good example of a graphical jump from exactly those games I was showing you a little bit earlier as well. Okay, so let's jump here to another game that I pulled out, and that, of course, is when we started to see video games have color. Like, it was a norm to have color, and that was in the 80s, like with Pac-Man. Like, Pac-Man would never be the same if it didn't have the color ghosts with the yellow character who we all know and love. Like, without the color graphics, Pac-Man would not live up to how great it was. And I think graphics were very important to Pac-Man, and at the time, really simplistic, but so, like, the symmetry in Pac-Man is beautiful. The colors are beautiful. The different colors, like the orange ghost, that's very more of peach color with the kind of sea green blue, and then, of course, the pink and the red ghost, and just the blinking kind of beige lights with the beautiful blue kind of floor, or I don't know what you call this, the space or the floor of the Pac-Man screen, So Pac-Man, this is just like when we got into the regular flow that video games have to have color. Not all of them do. Like, there's newer games like Limbo that don't, but, for the most part, So we're going to move on to the next game that I selected, and it's actually not a game, but I do want to have Ahoy from YouTube explain a few things for you guys, and this is an excerpt from his awesome take on what he called the brief history of graphics, so enjoy.
For rendering an image on the screen. Raster and vector. Raster comes from the Latin word rastrum, meaning rake, and today is the more familiar method of drawing on screen. The electron beam rapidly sweeps every line of the display in sequence, forming a grid. And line by line, a picture is assembled. Vector graphics directly manipulate the electron beam to form their images, in a similar manner to an oscilloscope. Indeed, very early games like Tennis for Two used an oscilloscope display. The most famous vector arcade title is Asteroid.
So these are two examples of different types of graphical interfaces that were very successful back then, and that was raster, which was the line by line, and then there was vector. And of course, Asteroids was a vector game first.
And while its graphics might be sparse, the perfectly smooth polygons do boast a certain charm. Compare the appearance of two similar games using each of these methods.
And there's no color here, believe it or not. Like, there's no color on Asteroids, you know. And it's still a fantastic game. Like, this game was so good. So simple in design, but graphically kind of cool. Like, it was a cool looking game. It was very neat. Now, here's one that was beautiful for its time, and that's Dig Dug, 1982. Look at the beautiful color design. The music was fun too, but look at this. If you walked into an arcade in 1982 and you saw a game like this, it would really be really impressive. And Dig Dug just really pushed the limit on making a fun looking game. Like, look at the pineapple, the flowers up top with the blue sky, the beautiful changes in color of the actual dirt that you're digging in. It's very Minecraft, but way before Minecraft even existed, you know? Oh, no problem, no fear. What's up, man? Thanks so much for stopping by. It's so good to have you. No one's ever late. So Dig Dug was just awesome. Like, so cool for its time and graphics. Now, one important part of the history of graphics is the scrolling effect of graphics that was kind of happening in the arcade racing games and stuff like that. But this is the game, I think, don't hold me to it, but one of the first scrolling landscaped games ever developed, and it was called, by Sega in 1981, called Turbo. Now watch how the city, you know, scrolls, and it became kind of like a way that we would play games for quite a while. But here's one of the early scrolling games ever made. And it was pretty impressive for the time because it's very realistic, even though the buildings look a little crazy and the design is kind of off. But I mean, for its time, the movement and the style and the way they show distance was very, very incredible. So this is an example of like, what technology can we have and how do we affect the way people look at the screen in order to help the graphics? And scrolling effects were so big for a jump in graphics. And I'm going to show you another example, or at least I think I have it up. Hang On. Not only did Hang On have an awesome arcade machine, but it was beautiful in aesthetics, but still, just like the 1981 Turbo, it was scrolling effect. But look at the beautiful detail on this version on Hang On. But this is still the same technology that you saw in that 1981 game, but the scrolling effect was still necessary for racing games so that they could really figure out how do we even do racing games and how do we keep the graphics up, and Hang On's a great example and a fun game. What's up? Hey, every other weekend. And Al, speaking of video games, I'm about to play here very shortly. Nice. I'm always late except today. No, thanks for coming, Stash. Look at that. Beautiful game. And that sound effect. Awesome. So let's move on to another scrolling effect game that was beautiful in design, fantastic in gameplay. Let's watch some Space Harrier. Look at that. So Space Harrier was beautiful and ahead of its time, a sci-fi like, just scrolling video shooter that had like a 3D vibe, 3D feel. And the arcade machine actually was really fun if you ever played the arcade machine. The arcade machine was pretty sick. One of my favorite games is there was a barcade here in Los Angeles called Bud and Mash, and they had a beautiful original Space Harrier. And the reason I remember Space Harrier is because thanks so much for the 10 biddies, every other weekend. Every other weekend, I like that name. So there was like this 5 and dime, we used to call them when I was young. And there was a narc and then a Space Harrier. And I played the crap out of this. Yeah, geek. It always blew me away back in the day. So, but what everyone has to realize is that it's a trick effect for better graphics because they're essentially just scrolling the environment and tricking you into thinking that you're in an open world like a Breath of the Wild, but you're not. You're just in like a limited left and right linear space, and you're not. So. But beautiful game. So let's pull up the next game I have here. And one of my favorites, 1983, Dragon Slayer. This is different, but it's still graphics. It's animation. It still blew me away. Like when I saw Dragon Slayer in the arcade and you saw like that cartoon design, you were really blown away. And it's a video game, but it's a very early, interactive choose your own adventure style, which we've already seen on Netflix, even with Bandersnatch. I just kind of like compare Bandersnatch because it's a point and click adventure game. But Dragon Slayer was kind of annoying because you'd go to the arcade and sometimes the stick wasn't really up to par because people were just like destroying it because you would have to go like left or right, and like slam the controller. So a lot of times the reaction times on Dragon Slayer were not so great. But absolutely stunning game. And beautiful. Let's see what I got next here. Here's a beautiful game that people don't really talk about, I don't think. I mean, they definitely talk about it. Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island for Super NES. Really beautiful game. It's a beautiful game. Look at this. The beautiful art backgrounds, the wonderful sprites of Yoshi and Baby Mario, like just a beautiful game, in my opinion. All right, moving on to the next thing I've pulled up ahead of time because I've done my research. We're going to jump back into a little bit retrospect from Ahoy and enjoy. I pulled out a segment here for you guys to watch. Enjoy.
Due to graphics, almost as long as games have existed. Early sprites were small in size and limited in palette, but as the pace of technology increased, they became larger, more detailed, and much more colourful. Huge sprites meant huge arcade impact. Games like Strider were held in high regard for the sheer scale of the action.
Beautiful
Towering
game.
characters and huge sweeping plasma swords. This was made possible by the powerful CPS-1 arcade board, with custom sprite chips capable of drawing 256 16-color sprites per scanline. This was the board that would power Street Fighter II, a title which would...
So Street Fighter 2 comes out, and I remember going into the arcade and being blown away by just the aesthetics and how this game looked. Just so cool. The backgrounds were so cool. Oh, look, Capcom. You know, it's funny. I never noticed this right here. I guess you don't really look, you know, unless you really look. So I'm really looking. Anyway, let's move on here.
Set a benchmark within the fighting game genre, with large and diverse character sprites coupled with fluid action. It sent the popularity of fighting games skyward and kickstarted a new wave of arcade popularity.
It's true.
Graphics might not be important, but they certainly attract attention.
Mm-hmm. He's right. It's you know, everyone says, oh, it's always about the gameplay, but you got to admit that graphics are still very much a part of that and are very much controlled by your decision making when you buy a video game. If you think the game is good mechanically, but the graphics look good, it's going to make you want to buy it. I mean, that's just fact. But this is that arcade era that Ahoy was talking about, you know, Turtles in Time, you know, beautiful game. Look at the background, just beautiful. Aesthetics of the city, simple in design, amazing. That was always cool when they threw the foot soldier at you at the screen, kind of breaking the fourth wall in a sense. You know, just beautiful game, fun game. And I also liked how the pizzas were on the ground too. And remember that robot? Oh, those were annoying. So, you know, and especially, like, look at this. This is like, to this day, no matter how many times you tweet this, people are going to like this. So when you went to an arcade and no one was playing the X-Men arcade machine, you'd see this cool cinematic kind of playing in the background consistently. And that is eye-catching, and that is graphics. X-Men. But look how beautiful the game is itself. The game itself is beautiful too. You got all the beautiful designs of the sprites. They look like they're X-Men. They play like they're X-Men. It's so cool. Look at that. I used to be Cyclops, believe it or not. I used to love using Cyclops. All right. Moving on, everybody. And of course, we can't leave this conversation without the evolution of Lara Croft, which is one of the few characters besides like a Mario or a Sonic that you have seen evolve through graphics. I saw this really cool Tomb Raider infographic and I wanted to show you guys. I'm going to play about a minute of it. This is by HalloweenCostumes.com. Despite the vast makeovers and reboots since her 1996 debut, she remains the most recognizable female icon in video games. 1996. There she is. (1997-98). See the promotional versus the in-game? $99, 2000 in-game promotional. Come on. Go. 2003 promotional in-game. $2006. She hasn't changed much. I mean, technically, like they kept her pretty similar. 2007. Man, she's had so many makeovers. 2008. She still looks the same. Graphically, definitely better. I mean, but she just looks the same. She looks different there. That was cool. I mean, I can't go through, someone asked me to make sure that that I include Tomb Raider in this conversation. I have to. If I didn't, it'd be bad. Okay, moving on. We cannot forget games like the first-person shooter and, for instance, Wolfenstein. Now, we're going back to a game that doesn't look graphically amazing, but for its time was absolutely amazing. And creating like the first person perspective. It was outstanding game. But one of my favorites is Half-Life 2, graphically, and just a great game. Here's the trailer.
Welcome to City 17. Gordon Freeman. Let me get a look at you, man.
Oh, I thought you were a cop.
Such a good game, and so many little details which make this game really important. Like, I really think that graphics are really important. Like Half-Life Alyx I played, and they really spend so much time on the aesthetics and the details of just like a doorknob. So I give like a lot of Valve credit for a lot of their designs of their gaming. Like Portal is beautifully designed graphically. And mechanically amazing as well. Well, let's see here. Moving on. What else I got here? We're going to talk a little bit about cell shading, and I'm going to let Ahoy do this mention because we can't leave without this mention.
While dull tones and cinematic effects are both intended to inject realism into games, some took a more stylized approach instead. Cell shading is the deliberate use of flat color and inked outlines to give 3D images a cartoon-like appearance. Early titles like Jet Set Radio embraced the style and catapulted it into prominence. And it served as a pleasant reminder that not every game has to drudgingly adhere to reality. The style can be divisive, however.
The Wind Waker HD on the Wii U was beautiful. Like, just a beautiful game. Beautiful game. And then there's BioShock, and everyone knows how great BioShock is. BioShock was very, very, very graphically beautiful. Actually, this isn't that HD, so. But man, and we're gonna get into a couple of things here before we leave. But like, here's a beautiful game, everybody. Look at this.
The history of the royal family of Hyrule is also the history of the Calamity Ganon, a primal evil.
In my opinion, this is one of the most beautiful games ever made. In my humble opinion.
That has endured over the ages.
Beautiful. Just like utterly beautiful, you know? So then I found this. It's like the top 10 games of all time according to Game Rant. Graphically. And Super Mario Odyssey, sure. I think that could make the top 10, but would I have thought like, oh, graphically it's the greatest game ever made? No. I don't think so. Gears 5, sure. I don't know much about it, but I know Gears of War is graphically beautiful. Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I heard, was very beautiful. I've never played it, though. Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, I have not played, but I've heard amazing things graphically about it. Star Wars Battlefront 2, I would not put this even in the top 10. Like, maybe it looks beautiful, but, like, why? I don't know. I don't know. Resident Evil 2, sure, for sure. The remake, definitely. That game was cool and beautiful. I know Gears 5's fantastic, Al. You love Gears of War. God of War was beautiful. 2018's God of War was beautiful, no doubt. The Witcher 3, for sure, is a beautiful game. Horizon 4 is actually, yeah, I would say I played for Forza, and it was beautiful, believe it or not. Horizon 4 is very good. Red Dead Redemption 2, number 1. Oh, I mean, yeah, it's beautiful, but it's like you just expect that kind of beauty. But I don't know if it's like number 1 for me. Where's Breath of the Wild? Like, why isn't Breath of the Wild in here? Like, maybe it doesn't look like Odyssey, but Breath of the Wild is beautiful. Damn. Unbelievable. I personally have been playing Far Cry, though, and I think Far Cry is beautiful. Far Cry 5 is outstanding.
Repent, you sinners! That's why you need to spark a resistance. Fight back against these maniacs.
I really like Far. It was on the Epic Store for like $8.99, so I really liked it. All right, cool. So that's pretty much it. There's not much more you can talk about graphics. I mean, you could go into like burly details, but really you just see the growth of graphics and how graphics have kind of grown through the history of gaming, especially through my eyes. It's been a really amazing experience. But now the jumps in graphics, they're impressive, but it's not as incredible as I used to think. So that's one thing to keep note of. What's up, yo? Thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. But what I'm saying is, to me, graphics were kind of important, but not always amazingly important. But when you think about games like Minecraft, for instance, when it came out, a lot of people gave it slack because they were like, wait, this game, you know, it looks like it's retro. What is it? It's not. The graphics are terrible. When are they going to update this? But that was not the beauty of Minecraft. The beauty of Minecraft was how the game was developed and created, and it was meant to look, you know, like this. You know, it was meant to be, you know, like aesthetically this. And it's beautiful in its own right. And I baited Minecraft, and it was so beautiful. No, I went to the game tower in Northridge, but I'm not going to. I'm actually going to the beach after this. Believe it or not, to get some sun and try to socially distance at the beach in LA. I think good graphics are important, especially if the game is supposed to be immersive. Gears of War is a good example of that. Yeah, I mean that's true. But you also love Gears of War, Al. But Gears of War is a very graphically beautiful game. I did ask everyone on Twitter before we do the game giveaway. Just 1 second before we do the game giveaway. I wanted to show you guys something. Let me find it. Here we go. So 257 people voted, and I said, "What's more important to you when buying a video game?" And I believe it or not, excluded gameplay on purpose because I wanted to see what people would say. Because everyone always picks gameplay, right? But I wanted to see what people say. And 5.8% said graphics, where 69.3% said story, 8.9% cared about multiplayer, and only 16% cared about characters. I mean, obviously. So let's read some of these comments. Gameplay is crucial ever, but I got what you meant with that. Nice one. Please do more. You see, people noticed that I left it out, and I'm like, I did it on purpose. If graphics were rephrased more as an art direction, then it'd be my choice. Most of my favorite games of last gen were indie, but I'd argue stuff like The Messenger and Gungeon are better looking and hold up better than a lot of AAA stuff. That's probably pretty true. Interesting experiment here. Gameplay is always king for me, but second to that, characters can make a game. Virtua Fighter, for example, has no story, but the characters next to the gameplay make it compelling. Wow, that's really great insight, actually. I agree with that. We're going to be in LA, yo. I may be biased, but I'm not wrong either. Gameplay. Everyone just says gameplay. I'm like, it's not about that. I should say gameplay is not listed. Please choose again. Choose again. Why not? Because, you got to do this right. But I love this poll, and I'm glad that a lot of people participated. But I also want to tell you all who hung out with me through the episode, thank you so much. I am going to be doing a game giveaway. I'm giving out today a game that I loved growing up. Or not growing up, I wasn't that young, but a game that I really enjoyed. But here's the trailer.
When I'm on the road, I'm indestructible. No one can stop me. But they try.
Full Throttle Remastered, guys. Come on.
Yeah. And if some cash
It's an amazing game.
we're in big trouble.
You can play the classic version or the new one.
Our way. Something big.
If you have not played Full Throttle, I'm giving it away. So Full Throttle is a old school point and click adventure game technically that Double Fine made. And if you want to try it out, I'm giving away the code for PC. Yes. But I'm only giving it away in a game called Stream Racer. So we're going to play real quick. And then we're going to end the stream and raid a friend of mine, Hash Lord. So I'll be right back. Let me get the Stream Racer up. So 1 second, my friends.
There's someone here. Where?
Dude, thanks so much for using your Twitch Prime sub for me, man. Thank you so much, Dash. That's awesome. Thank you so much, man. All right, we're going to do a game giveaway with Stream Racer, one of my favorite games to play. Whoever wins this game wins Full Throttle. So let me just get into that scene for you guys. 1 second. We're going to get this show on the road. All right. Start the game. All right, if you put exclamation point race in the chat, you join Stream Racer. We're going to race to see who wins full throttle. So we're going to race to play a game. So please, exclamation point race in the chat, everyone. I know there's not a ton of people today, but join the chat and have a chance to win full throttle. I'm excited about this because it's a great game, and if you've never played Full Throttle before, then you should try it out. I don't know. Chicken, he's actually busy, believe it or not. So we're gonna have we had a smaller show today, so it might be just you four going at it for Full Throttle. So I'm gonna start the countdown. Now, I believe you could do, I forget if you do exclamation point boost, you could use your actual, so anyway, if anyone's joined and or lurking, put exclamation point race in a chance to win Full Throttle today. On one of my favorite games, Stream Racer. But it might be you four going at it for Full Throttle. Stash says it's his day. It might be, Stash. I'm excited for you guys. Should I race you guys too? I'll come in. Nah, I don't want to win. That's why I want it up to you guys to go at it. So here we go. 20 seconds. All right, we'll see. It's up to you four. Good luck. All right, here we go. I'll be doing the commentating. Enjoy. We're off to a slow start. We got No Fear going around the corner. I don't know why I'm talking like I'm from the 1940s. But Secret Stash is in first. He's going to win. He said he was going to win today before the show, Bob. Yeah, Bob, that's what he said. Oh, wait, we're both named Bob. That doesn't make sense. You guys are close. We got a close race here. We got Al, Epic. We got No Fear's going the wrong way. Al got stuck behind, and we still got Secret Stash out in front. He said before the game he was going to win. It's in chat, so we think he's going to win. No Fear, sorry, man, you're all the way in the back. I hope you catch up. Stash is like, screw it. I am not going to get screwed out of this time. Let's take it back outside so you guys can see that Stash is in a commanding lead. He's not wrong, folks. He thinks he's going to win today. But we should see. We got Yo is behind him, and he really wants to win this game because he was curious before the match what this game is all about. Stash still in the lead. I see No Fear making a turn behind Al in the back. Let's take a look closer. They're fighting for third, folks. They're fighting for third. Stash is stuck in a tree. Stash is stuck in a tree. What is going on? Yo is in first. Stash, I don't know what happened to you, sir, but it looks like you lost that lead, sir. Let's go back to Yo. Yo's got a commanding lead. He's no kidding. He's going to win the game today. He's got a commanding lead, but Stash is not giving up. He is not giving up. Like I said earlier, he wants this. He told me. He told me. And Yo wants it too, but Yo has got a commanding lead right now. Let's hike back in here. This might be the end, folks. This might be the end, but we got a little bit more track left. One slip up by Yo is going to cost everything. One slip up by Yo will cost it all. Let's go all the way to the back. See, Al's in third and No Fear way back and forth. Sorry, No Fear. But we got Yo. Is this the end? Is Yo just going to take this? He's commanding, and Stash is just losing his lead. This is sad, folks. Sad for Stash, who thought today was his day. But it's looking to me like Yo is going to take this crown. I don't mean to jinx him, but I just did. Stash is coming around the corner. Let's get a good look. He wants Yo, but I don't know if Yo's going to, this might be the end of the race. This is a long one today. This is a long one. It's not over yet. But Yo looks in command, folks. I don't know if there's going to be a chance for anyone to beat Yo. I don't know. We're going to see. Stash in second. Sorry, guys. You guys are just doing terrible. You, Al and No Fear, are just having a good old time out there. Yo is going to take the lead. I just don't see, folks. I don't see Yo losing this. I just don't. I don't know. Stash is way behind. Yo is just commanding the lead. He wants full throw. No, whoa! He just spun off on the track. That gives Stash a chance to catch up. But Yo catches his composure, makes a turn, and keeps the lead. That was a close one, but it did give Stash a little bit more of a lean towards the lead. But Yo is still commanding. We still got a little bit of track left. Folks, we still got track left. Yo gotta be careful. While Stash is coming behind you, Al all the way in the back with No Fear is just still in fourth. But Yo is commanding ahead again. He does not want to lose this. But there's the end. Can Stash make it? I don't know. I think Yo's going to take this lead. We are coming to the close. There's just no way I see this ending badly for Yo. It's going to be a win for Yo. Congratulations, sir. You have won a copy of Full Throttle. Stash, oh, you had the lead, my friend. I'm so sorry. GG, everybody. We're going to let No Fear and everyone else get into the gate. Yo. GG. Hey, Duck. What's up, man? Good to see you. Aw, thank you so much for the 200 biddies, dude. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So it's good to see you, too. Welcome to the cafe. All right, guys. Well, that was great. Congratulations, Joe. I will DM you on Discord, sir, with the code to Full Throttle. I'm so excited you've never played it, so that you might be able to enjoy and experience the game. I do recommend, believe it or not, let me shut this down. I do recommend playing the original version of it, which you can on the remaster. So you can play the classic, or you can play the remastered version. But I would suggest going with whatever makes you feel comfortable. So anyway, everyone, that's going to kind of call it to a close. I do have someone I want to raid, and it's a very good friend that I like to always raid. And that would be Hatchlord, who I like what he's doing. I like the journey that he's playing. He's playing lots and lots of retro games. I want to congratulate Yo again on winning the race and having a chance to play Full Throttle. I want to thank everyone who hung out for this really interesting episode where we kind of tried to figure out how do you talk about graphics history and the importance of it. But I want to thank everyone. Please be safe. And shout out to all the TikTokers that stopped by. We're going to raid this guy like I promised him. And I'll see you guys next week, right? That's how we do it, right? See you next week.